150 years ago, the city of Ottawa was formally incorporated. With the birth of the new city came the start of a strong and long-standing policing tradition. Working together for a safer community has always been a concern for the Ottawa Police. The organization stands by that pledge to this day. Although most are familiar with the men and women who patrol our streets today, many are not so familiar with the early beginnings of the service. In 1827, the settlement of Bytown was established after Lieutenant Colonel John By arrived in the area to oversee construction of the Rideau Canal system. In that same year, Captain Andrew Wilson began pleading with the governor to create a system of citizens to enforce peace and order in the area. After 8 long years, Wilson's dream came true as the Bytown Association for the Preservation of the Public Peace was formed, enlisting over 200 armed volunteers. By the 1840s, our city was one of the most feared communities in North America, being described as brawling, rioting, and lusting. This reputation led to an 1845 petition to incorporate as a town, allowing officials to establish a municipal board of police. Although an official charter wouldn't be received until 1850, in 1847 a police force consisting of a high constable and 9 constables was established. It can be regarded as the grandfather of the Ottawa Police. On January 1, 1855, the town of Bytown was incorporated as the City of Ottawa. Later that month, Roderick Ross was appointed the first Chief of Police, and the Ottawa Police Force was born. The force grew quickly, and in 1861, a committee that eventually evolved into the Board of Commissioners of Police was founded to help watch over the force. In 1866, Bylaw 235 was passed, creating the area's first full-time paid police force. The early years focused on keeping up with the city's growth. Milestones, such as Ottawa being designated Canada's capital, the Great Fire of 1900 that decimated much of the area, and new means of transportation, such as the car and bicycle, presented police with many challenges. By 1912, Ottawa's swelling population and soaring crime rates meant looking for new ways of dealing with crime. For example, the Morality Branch was created to deal with houses of ill repute, gambling, and the enforcement of drug and liquor laws. Up until 1913, police work was left to men. In early January, the Ottawa Police welcomed its first female officer, Flora Campbell. When Constable Campbell retired in 1935, the force temporarily eliminated the position of policewoman. In 1946, there were many changes made within the force. One of the most significant and most welcomed was the introduction of the 5-day work week for the civilian employees of Ottawa. The year also marked the creation of the Police Act, legislation that identified and separated areas of jurisdiction and the duties of the police forces in Ontario. The expansion of the City of Ottawa to include thousands of acres from Gloucester and Nepean townships on January 1, 1950, gradually led to many additions within the police force. On April 1, 1960, a team of meter maids was introduced to combat the increasing number of parking violations within the city. These pioneer women did not carry the title of policewoman, but were referred to as the Ottawa Police Women Auxiliary. 4 years later, the Youth Liaison Section was created in order to fight the increase in juvenile crime. The Ottawa Police Intelligence Section was added in 1965 to identify and maintain records on suspects involved in organized crime. Equally notable, the Marine Patrol Service began on June 18, 1967. With the 1970s came a new set of measures for recruits. New officers were required to attend the Ontario Police College in Aylmer. On March 1, 1973, the Ottawa Police expanded yet again when it hired 49 parking control officers, today known as municipal bylaw officers, to enforce parking bylaws. Perhaps one of the most remembered additions of the decade was the conception of the annual memorial service for police and correctional officers after 21-year-old David Kirkwood was killed while on duty. The first memorial service took place on September 24, 1978, in front of the Peace Tower. On January 2, 1832, Gloucester became a township. At that time, it included the areas we know now as New Edinburgh, Rockcliffe Park, Vanier, Overbrook, Billingsbridge, Elmvale Acres, Alta Vista, Herdman's Bridge, Walkley Road, and Hunt Club. 18 years later, in 1850, 3 constables were hired to enforce bylaws. In 1929, the Carleton County Police Force began to police 10 townships, including Gloucester. This arrangement lasted until December 1937, when the Carleton Force disbanded and policing of Gloucester was carried out by the Ontario Provincial Police. The annual cost to Gloucester was $5,250. At a meeting in March 1957, the Gloucester and Nepean councils discussed an idea to create a joint police force. 3 months later, both councils passed a bylaw to authorize an agreement for this force. And from July 1, 1957, with a chief constable, a sergeant, and 5 constables, the 2 townships worked together to police the areas. The Gloucester Nepean Police Department operated until December 31, 1963, when both townships created their own separate police forces. Responsible for a jurisdiction of 116 square miles, the Police Department of Gloucester Township began its operations on January 1, 1964. That same year, it became the first municipal force to have a police service dog when Rex, a 1.5-year-old German Shepherd, was purchased. Even though the force thought the dog made a great addition to their team, the K-9 program ended in 1967 because of cost. After settling as a new, independent police force, the Gloucester Police Department saw 2 important changes in their patrol section in the 1970s. In January 1971, the 3-platoon system was introduced. 8 years later, in 1979, a new type of patrol system called team policing was initiated. On January 1, 1981, Gloucester Township incorporated into a city, and the police force changed to municipal status. The township of Nepean was established on October 6, 1792. However, it wasn't until 1915 that Nepean's first salaried constable and combination truant officer and sanitary inspector was appointed. As in Gloucester, the Carleton County Police Force took over policing from 1929 to 1937, and in 1938, the Ontario Provincial Police took over the area, deploying 1 sergeant and 2 constables into the region. Because the OPP did not perform municipal duties in those times, Borden Conley, previously of the Carleton County Force, was hired as the Township Constable on May 5, 1939. His main duties included enforcing bylaws, school attendance, and the Liquor Control Act. By 1944, almost half of the OPP's Carleton County calls for service were coming from Nepean, and the population had grown to a size demanding its own municipal police force. Therefore, the Nepean Township Police were formed in 1945, consisting of Chief Borden Conley, 4 constables, and a telephone night operator. The Nepean Township Police operated until the 1950 Ottawa annexation that reduced Nepean to rural status, bringing it once again under the protection of the OPP. After a brief stint of joint policing by Gloucester and Nepean Townships from 1957 to 1963, the Township of Nepean Police Department began operations. 10 years later, in 1974, the force reorganized itself into 3 divisions: patrol, crime investigation, and administration. The 1970s saw an interest in helping problem youth. The Preventive Intervention Program, or PIP, started in 1975 to provide youth violators with the option of going on voluntary probation and receiving counseling rather than being charged. In 1977, a second program was implemented to address the immense problem of shoplifting. Members of the Youth Liaison Division visited schools, showing educational videos to students and informing them of the charges they would face if they were ever caught stealing. On November 24, 1978, the Township of Nepean became a city, and the police force changed to municipal status. The department changed its name to the Nepean Police Service in 1989. The history of Vanier dates back to the 1830s, when it began as a small settlement called Cummings Island. In 1877, the settlement had its name changed to Janeville and then to Eastview, when it, along with the tiny villages of Clanboy and Clarkstown, incorporated as a village on January 1, 1909. The new village found itself in need of a peacekeeper whose job it would be to accompany prisoners from the village into the central prison in Ottawa. One police officer, who made his rounds on foot, was hired in July 1909. Eastview was incorporated into a town on January 1, 1913. In 1922, Council approved the purchase of a bicycle so its 2 officers could efficiently police the population of Eastview. In 1943, the force introduced radio communication. By 1952, the police force had grown to 8 men, increasing to 12 in 1961 and 23 in 1964. On January 1, 1963, Eastview attained the status of a city, and in October of that same year, the Eastview Police Department hired its first female officer, Constable Pauline Robert. In 1969, Eastview was renamed the City of Vanier in honor of former Governor-General the Honorable George P. Vanier. Its police force also changed its name. On December 1, 1984, an agreement was signed for the purchase of police services in Vanier from the Ottawa Police Force that included the integration of the Vanier Police with the Ottawa Police. Members of the Vanier Police Force were sworn in as members of the Ottawa Police Service, and on January 1, 1985, the Vanier Police Force ceased to exist. On January 1, 1995, after a 2-year transition phase under provincially legislated Bill 143, the Nepean, Gloucester, and Ottawa Police amalgamated into a new police service, the Ottawa-Carleton Regional Police Service, OCRPS. It became the 3rd largest municipal police service in Ontario. The core value of the newly formed Ottawa-Carleton Regional Police Service was working together for a safer community. And with this slogan, the service was setting a new standard for itself. At the time of amalgamation, The Ottawa Carleton Police was responsible for policing over 560,000 people, had a yearly budget of approximately $100 million, and employed more than 860 sworn officers and 360 civilian members. With amalgamation came many new promises, commitments, and changes within the policing organization. The first commitment was a promise to provide an effective and professional police staff by centralizing the authority structure, implementing problem-oriented policing within a district-based system, introducing a new shift schedule, and executing a plan that would support the proper distribution of frontline officers. A second commitment was making the safety of police members a first concern by providing new body armor for all officers, by supplying and training all officers in the use of one standardized semi-automatic weapon, by including mandated training into the work schedule, by implementing a modern high-tech voice radio system, and lastly, by giving employees access to records information by means of new computer systems. A third commitment centered around increasing frontline policing resources. This promise was fulfilled by moving 200 officers to the front line, by enhancing crime investigation techniques, and by gradually filling all of the vacant officer positions. A fourth and very important commitment was one that the Police Services Board had made to the community, giving its word that it would respond to community needs. This would be accomplished by focusing work on community problems, improving the ability of frontline officers to answer calls, and regular involvement in community meetings. As an amalgamated department, the OCRPS was required to take over policing in the Ottawa region that had previously been handled by the Ontario Provincial Police, incorporating many of the OPP affiliates and hiring about 100 more members. By the end of this process, which took place between 1995 and 2000, the region had 11 police districts and 3 divisions scattered across Ottawa Carleton, where officers were assigned to respond to a variety of police emergencies and also with residents to solve community problems. These 11 districts were reorganized in 2001 when the new City of Ottawa came into existence, encompassing the former Ottawa, Gloucester, Kanata, Nepean, Vanier, the village of Rockcliffe Park, and the townships of Cumberland, Goulburn, Osgood, Rideau, and West Carleton. The organization's name was changed to the Ottawa Police Service to reflect the new municipal structure. Today, policing in the National Capital Region involves valued partnerships with the RCMP, OPP, Military Police, Sûreté du Québec, and the Gatineau Police Service. Overall, the amalgamation of police services in Ottawa has greatly benefited the city. The Ottawa Police Service, as a combination of the former departments, has a better understanding of our city and is better able to police the city as a whole, since it is comprised of people from all former policing jurisdictions of Ottawa. In January 1855, the new City of Ottawa needed new leaders. The formation of the Ottawa Police called for the appointment of a Chief Constable or Chief of Police, as we now know it. And on January 22, 1855, this prestigious post was given to Roderick Ross. He had 17 constables under his supervision and was responsible for everything from inspecting city taverns to making personal appearances in police court to keeping detailed statistics on prisoners. Chief Ross ruled the Ottawa Police through very turbulent times, and he did so with an iron fist. As the city grew, so did the number and severity of crimes. The need for more constables to patrol the streets became apparent, and in 1861, a notice was posted in the local newspapers requesting men of steady, temperate habits and having good recommendations. In 1863, after 8 years and many advancements to his credit, Roderick Ross stepped down as chief constable. The Board of Police Commissioners appointed Thomas Langrel to the position and officially adopted the title Chief of Police. At the time, constables were still being paid per arrest or per service provided. It was under Langrel's command that the city established its first full-time salaried police force. Over the 16 years that Thomas Langrel was chief, the force also saw the promotion of constables to detectives and sergeants, and the introduction of revolvers and the forerunner of the handcuff. In 1879, Langrel resigned. On April 5th of that year, 25-year-old Percy Sherwood became Ottawa's third police chief. He believed very strongly in discipline. He started the practice of station house and uniform inspections, as well as twice-weekly drills for his men. Sherwood's tenure ended in 1882 when he accepted the position of Superintendent of the Dominion Police, the agency that merged with the Royal Northwest Mounted Police in 1920 to become the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Of the 40 applications received for Sherwood's replacement, a former schoolmaster, justice of the peace, and lieutenant colonel named Donald Mason Grant was named chief. He is credited for bringing undercover work to the force. On April 5, 1885, Chief Grant died of tuberculosis. On June 11th, William McVitie was appointed chief of police. McVitie had a long history with the Ottawa Police. Prior to becoming chief, he had served as a sergeant, health inspector, license inspector, and detective. During his reign, the city population grew, and the rate of crime increased as well. In 1896, allegations of misconduct were brought against Chief McVitie, and although it was determined that there was insufficient evidence to validate the claims, the chief resigned. In August 1896, William F. Powell was named as McVitie's successor. Chief Powell was determined to make the Ottawa Police the best and most efficient force it could be. After visiting various police forces in Ontario, Chief Powell worked to obtain new uniforms and improved equipment, including a paddy wagon. In November 1904, Chief Powell resigned from the Ottawa Police. Major Stewart E. de la Ronde succeeded the chief. He is the only man to retain his military title while serving as Chief of Police. When Chief Major de la Ronde took over, the rates for serious crimes were fairly low, but motor vehicle traffic began to surface as a serious problem. He instituted severe punishment for anyone driving carelessly or recklessly. After 6 years at the helm, Chief Major de la Ronde returned to the military, and in 1910 he was succeeded by Alexander Moffat Ross. Ross, no relation to Roderick Ross, had joined the force in 1895. In his 21 years of service, Chief Ross was responsible for the creation of the Morality Branch, the Motorcycle Squad, the adoption of the fingerprint system, and the hiring of Ottawa's very first policewoman. He retired in 1931. The man selected to fill Ross's shoes was 62-year-old Émile Joliat, a 36-year veteran of the Ottawa Police. He was the first chief of French-speaking origin. During his tenure, Chief Joliat set stricter entrance requirements for police candidates. He was also responsible for the expansion of the telephone service handled by the police and the introduction of police radios. After 42 years with the service, Émile Joliat tendered his resignation. The Board of Commissioners promoted Deputy Chief Joseph Patrick Downey to replace him. Chief Downey created the School Patrol Section, dedicated to traffic safety. His time as chief also saw the start of the 5-day work week and the first Ottawa police officer killed in the line of duty. He retired on January 1, 1948, with 41 years of service to the Ottawa Police. The next chief was Duncan MacDonnell. Over the 10 years MacDonnell served, he was responsible for the hiring of the first police chaplains, the purchase of Ottawa's first electronic speed timing device for traffic enforcement, and the organization of an underwater search and recovery squad. Deputy Chief Reginald Axel was promoted to chief on December 3, 1958, the very same day Chief MacDonnell announced his retirement. Chief Axel was the first to appoint meter maids. He also implemented a cadet program, began the youth liaison section, and worked to improve relations with the community. His success in this area was so great that he was named Eastview Ottawa Man of the Year in 1964. In October 1966, Chief Axel's wife died suddenly. Deeply upset by his loss, he retired soon after. Upon Axel's departure, Chief John Ambrose Cavan assumed command. With 36 years of police experience, John Cavan was chief of police for 5 years, during which time he purchased new .38 caliber revolvers and established specialized policing units. After 40 years of service with the Ottawa Police, he retired to spend more time with his family. On April 1, 1971, Leo Seguin was named Cavan's successor. He had been with the Ottawa Police since 1939. Chief Seguin founded Operation Identification, as well as the Children's Safety Village and Police Chorus, and established a tactical team. In 1978, after 39 years of service, Chief Seguin retired. Thomas E. Welsh, a deputy chief for 7 years, was his replacement. Welsh first joined the Ottawa Police in 1945 after service with the Air Force during the Second World War. Chief Welsh was responsible for starting the Neighborhood Watch program and the Race Relations section of the Ottawa Police. He retired in November 1985 with over 40 years' service. The 16th man to be named Chief of Police for Ottawa was World War II veteran Arthur Rice. Appointed on May 1, 1984, with 34 years of experience, he headed the force until 1989. Chief Rice launched several innovative initiatives, such as the Employee Assistance Program, the Police Venturers, and 911. It was also during his time that the Ottawa Police unveiled its very own flag. Upon Chief Rice's retirement, Deputy Chief Thomas Flanagan took over the 600-member Ottawa Police on June 30, 1989. As Chief of Police, his major legacy was community-based policing. During his career, honors included the Queen's Commendation for Brave Conduct, the Star of Courage, and the Canada 125 Medal for his community work. For his 42 years of service, it was resolved that the Ottawa Police Station be renamed the Thomas G. Flanagan Building. In April 1993, Deputy Chief Brian Ford was officially sworn in as Ottawa's 18th Chief of Police. Chief Ford maintained the same high standards regarding community policing and progressive thought. In the 7 years Brian Ford served as chief, he spoke out about hate crimes and adopted new computer-aided dispatch technology. He was a staunch supporter of employment equity, and his contributions to the debate on criminal code amendments were crucial to the process of change. Chief Ford was also the first chief of the newly amalgamated Ottawa-Carleton Regional Police Service, comprised of the former Gloucester, Nepean, and Ottawa police forces, as well as sectors of the Ontario Provincial Police. Chief Ford retired in 2000. Ottawa's 19th Chief of Police was sworn in amidst fear of Y2K bugs, high-technology crimes, and the most thriving police service the city had ever seen. Appointed as the second chief of the Ottawa-Carleton Regional Police Service in 2000, Chief Vince Bevan became first chief of the new Ottawa Police Service less than a year later. In the 5 years that Chief Bevan has led the Ottawa Police Service, he has sustained the tradition of working with the community. His views on problem-oriented policing, openness, and accountability continue to make the Ottawa Police Service a pillar of excellence. Prior to the creation of the amalgamated Ottawa Police Service, law enforcement for Vanier, Gloucester, Nepean, and the surrounding areas was conducted by independent police forces. In the late 1800s, a small settlement to the east of the city was known as Janeville. In 1909, it separated from Gloucester and became the village of Eastview. Finding itself in need of a peacekeeper, the community hired Edward S. McGregor on July 7, 1909. Constable McGregor was dismissed in less than 2 months. He was followed by Frederick Nichols, who served as chief constable for 3 years. The next 8 years saw a number of personnel changes. H.C. Pryor, Ernest Hendley, and Alexandre Paquette served as chief constable. It wasn't until Richard Mannion was appointed in 1920 that long-term stability was found. Mannion had served 3 years with the Royal Irish Constabulary and 5 years with the Winnipeg City Police. As chief, he was one of the founding fathers of the Police Association of Ontario. During his entire 41-year career, Chief Mannion refused to carry a gun. When Mannion retired in 1961, Claude Dwyer, a 15-year veteran of the Eastview Police, stepped into the position. Under Dwyer's leadership, the force saw the creation of a detective bureau and direct two-way radio systems in all patrol cars. In 1969, Eastview became the city of Vanier in honor of Governor-General George P. Vanier. In 1975, 14 years after he first assumed control of what became the Vanier Police, a scandal forced Chief Dwyer to eventually resign. In April 1977, Deputy Chief Paul Paget was promoted to the rank of acting chief and took on the full responsibilities of Chief of Police the following year, with 18 years' experience. The 38-year-old Chief Paget was faced with the difficult task of improving both the public image and the internal morale of the Vanier Police. The youngest police chief in Ontario succeeded, promoting extensive training for all staff. Despite the accomplishments of the force, the mayor of Vanier felt the operating costs of the police force were too high, and in 1985, the Vanier Police integrated with the Ottawa Police. Chief Paget went on to become staff inspector and staff superintendent for the Ottawa Police, retiring in 1993. From 1929 to 1937, Gloucester and Nepean townships were policed by the short-lived Carleton County Police Force under the command of Chief Charles McCarthy. The Ontario Provincial Police assumed most control of the jurisdiction until 1957, when Gloucester and Nepean entered into an agreement to form a joint police force. The only chief to command this force was John Rankin. He held the position until the Gloucester Nepean Police separated into 2 distinct forces on January 1, 1964. Chief Rankin moved on to become Chief of Police for Nepean, and the newly independent Gloucester Police Department was headed by the former Associate Police Chief Sam W. Drader. Drader, a 22-year veteran of the RCMP, led the Gloucester Police for 3 years, overseeing many improvements in equipment and service. He sought the addition of speed radars and introduced the first municipal canine program. Chief Drader left Gloucester in 1967 to accept the position of Chief of Police in Medicine Hat, Alberta. His successor was Kenneth Duncan, a veteran of the Ottawa Police Department. Chief Duncan implemented many programs, including block parent, in-service training, and the organization of a community police committee. It was because of Chief Duncan's efforts that the old Leitrim School was renovated and opened in 1971 as a brand new police station for Gloucester. When Chief Duncan announced his retirement in late 1982, after 16 years as head of the force, he had overseen the growth of Gloucester Police from a force of 18 to 103 officers. Chief Lester Thompson, a 30-year veteran of the Ottawa Police Department, took over in January of 1983. Chief Thompson initiated youth and victim assistance programs, a new drug investigation section, computerized dispatch, and a media relations officer for Gloucester. He was Chief of Police for Gloucester until 1992. The final man to hold the position of Gloucester Police Chief was Raymond A. Renault. During his tenure, Chief Renault encouraged community-based policing and crime prevention and started a joint forces program whereby police services in the region could exchange personnel. He served as chief until the creation of the Ottawa-Carleton Regional Police Service in 1995, when he was appointed Deputy Chief of the Amalgamated Service until his retirement in 1998. Before the formation of the Gloucester Nepean Police, Nepean operated as its own township with its own police department. Borden Conley, formerly with the Carleton County Police Force and a Nepean Township Constable for 6 years, was appointed chief of the newly created Nepean Township Police in April 1945. When Ottawa annexed land from Nepean and Gloucester in 1950, the resulting reduction in population forced the termination of Nepean's police department, and Chief Conley became a detective sergeant for the Ottawa Police Morality Division, later moving to the rank of inspector. Many years later, after the disbanding of the Gloucester Nepean Police Force, Chief John Rankin became the leader of the Nepean Township Police. He began his career with 14 years as a member of the Glasgow Police Force, and had held the rank of Chief of Morrisburg and then Madoc Township for 6 years. Chief Rankin passed away in March 1966 while still in office. The next chief was Ewart Gus Wersch, who brought the experience of 16 years with the Ontario Provincial Police and Nepean Police to the position. Chief Wersch would retain this rank for 22 years and was very involved in the planning of the new police station on Greenbank Road. He oversaw many progressive changes as the Nepean Police grew from a complement of 20 officers and civilian staff at its inception to 175 by his retirement in 1988. The next and last chief of the Nepean Police was Wayne Phillips. Under Chief Phillips' leadership, the service continued to grow and move forward with expanding technology and many innovations to improve service delivery. Chief Phillips led the Nepean Police Service until the formation of the Ottawa-Carleton Regional Police in January 1995. Through the creation and implementation of various programs and initiatives, each of the chiefs has left an indelible mark on policing and the city. The unwavering dedication and commitment demonstrated by each chief during his tenure played a key role in making the Ottawa Police Service the trusted source of protection and strength it is today. The job of a police officer is one that demands a 110% effort 100% of the time. But for some officers, the contributions made in the line of duty are immeasurable. Here, we honor the brave officers who made the ultimate sacrifice while working to keep Ottawa's streets safe. Constable John Montgomery, transferred from the Department of Highway Motorcycle Patrol to the Westboro Detachment of the Ottawa Provincial Police in 1930. On July 31, 1931, while on motorcycle patrol eastbound on Carling Avenue, the vehicle ahead of him veered out. Attempting to avoid it, he was killed in a head-on collision with a westbound vehicle. He was 23 years old. On the morning of June 20th, 1940, Constable Hal Dent of the Rockland OPP detachment received a phone call about a suspicious person at the train station in Navan. When he approached the suspect and asked him to identify himself, the man pulled a gun from his coat and shot Constable Dent, mortally wounding him in the abdomen. He died within an hour, still on the floor of the station. The gunman, a transient, wanted for a break-and-enter in Quebec the night before, was pursued by off-duty OPP officer Acting Sergeant Alan Stringer, who shot and killed him. On the night of October 24th, 1945, Ottawa Police Detective Thomas Stoneman was on patrol with Constable Russell Burnt. Shortly after 1 a.m., the men confronted 3 suspects who had been reported for breaking into cars. One of the suspects turned and shot Detective Stoneman in the chest. As other officers arrived on the scene, a short gun battle broke out. An hour later, all 3 suspects had been arrested. For the next 5 days, Thomas Stoneman fought for his life, but died on October 29th at the age of 37. On November 1st, all of Ottawa gathered to mourn as the city's first police funeral procession passed through the streets of downtown. In 1946, Detective Thomas Stoneman was posthumously honored with the King's Police Award. Detective Stoneman's murderer, Eugene Larmont, was sentenced to death and was the last man executed at the Nicholas Street Jail. Nine years later, the Ottawa police faced sorrow once again. Constable George Constantino was a veteran traffic officer with 17 years of service. On November 17, 1954, he was returning to the station after performing escort duty at the French Embassy. As he navigated through the maze of construction on Sussex Drive, his police motorcycle struck the end of a boulevard curb. The bike flipped, throwing Constantino to the far end of the island. He died from his injuries. Just over 8 years later, a catastrophic mishap resulted in the death of a young Ottawa officer on May 13, 1963. Constable Jeffrey Armstrong was in his first week of police duty. Armstrong and a fellow recruit officer were preparing for a parade inspection when the other officer noticed some dust on his service revolver. He removed the gun from his holster to clean it and accidentally fired the weapon. The bullet struck Constable Armstrong in the stomach. He died of internal bleeding 40 minutes later. On the 21st of December, 1964, Ottawa traffic officer David Tuckey was returning early to the station. It was his last night in the traffic department, as he had been promoted to the morality division. Constable Tuckey was thrown from his motorcycle when he collided with a car on Nicholas Street near Herdman Road. He received extensive head injuries, which left him off work for over a year and a half. Unable to return to active duty, David Tuckey was reassigned to the court section. 5 years after the accident, the recently promoted sergeant was on duty in traffic court when he collapsed and died of a heart attack. He was 37 years old. On April 4, 1966, Constable Robert Mackey from the Rockcliffe Detachment of the Ottawa Provincial Police was escorting a mentally deranged person to an institution when the patient grabbed his service revolver and killed him. He was 30 years old, with 10 years on the job. On Monday, July 11, 1977, Ottawa police detectives received a tip that a 22-year-old man named Frederick Koptke, wanted on an outstanding warrant for assault causing bodily harm, was in a house in Centretown. Two detectives went to the house, asking Rookie Constable David Kirkwood and his training officer to assist in the event that Koptke attempted to flee. As officers approached the residence, Koptke fired out the side window. The bullet struck 21-year-old Constable David Kirkwood. He died on the scene. The situation exploded into a 3-hour gun battle with more than 50 officers involved, and several officers were wounded. When Koptke finally surrendered, police found an arsenal that included a 12-gauge shotgun, a .303 caliber rifle, and a .22 caliber rifle. On July 17, 1981, OPP Constable Kenneth M. Sweat was transporting a man from Ottawa to his residence in the Petawawa area. He received a vehicle for observation call on the radio for a drunk driver when he was about 2.5 miles south of Highway 44 in the West Carleton Township. The impaired driver veered into his lane and struck the cruiser. The two cars instantly went up in flames, killing everybody in both vehicles. Constable Sweat was 30 years old. On September 7, 1983, 41-year-old Ottawa Constable Russell O'Connor was answering a police call on his Kawasaki when the motorcycle went out of control and slammed into a median on the westbound Queensway. He was rushed to the hospital, but died from his injuries shortly after the accident. Russ, as he was known, was an 18-year veteran of the Ottawa Police. A coroner's jury found that a combination of high-speed wobble and a helmet that failed to protect the officer were probable contributors to O'Connor's death. As a result of this tragedy, the Ottawa Police removed the entire fleet of motorcycles from the roads. Just 1 month after the death of Russell O'Connor, Nepean lost its first officer in the line of duty.
Good evening. A man was taken into custody just minutes ago following the shooting death this afternoon of a Nepean police officer. Constable David Utman was shot at point-blank range today at Bayshore Shopping Mall in Ottawa's West End.
On October 14, 1983, Constable David Utman stopped at a mall to speak to an employee. A 22-year-old convict approached Utman and pointed a revolver at him. The gunman ordered the officer to stand up and fired a shot that went just above the constable's head. Constable Utman tried to reason with the man while he backed the escapee out of the cafe in order to protect those around him. After trying unsuccessfully to calm the man down, Utman was shot in the chest and killed. The suspect ran from the scene, but was arrested later that day. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. After his death, at 38 years old, Utman was awarded the Ontario Medal of Police Bravery. No tribute would be complete without recognizing the men and women who have died while still enjoying an active career. Those courageous officers who risked and lost their lives protecting our community will never be forgotten. After the death of David Kirkwood in 1977, the Ottawa Police decided to hold an annual memorial service to honor all fallen officers. On September 24, 1978, in front of the Peace Tower on Parliament Hill, Chief Thomas E. Welsh and the Ottawa Police hosted the first annual memorial service for police and correctional officers who lost their lives in the performance of duty. The service was attended by approximately 1,000 police and correctional officers, family members, and civilians. The following year, a memorial statuette was created. Made in 1979 by Major Keith Williamson and Captain G.B. Carter of the Bytown Gunners from a shell case used in the first ceremony's two-gun salute, it was inscribed simply with the words, "To Fallen Comrades." Since 1978, the annual memorial service has continued to be held on Parliament Hill, and attendance has grown every year.
All police forces, they come in there with contingents, well-drilled, well-dressed police officers, maybe 30, 40 members of big cities, name Winnipeg, Toronto, Vancouver, they come in. First of all, there was just a couple, no, not a couple, but a few. But it grew so big. American police officers came. Quebec came from Quebec City. They come from all over the place.
In 1989, American police officers from the cities of Detroit, Cleveland, and Chicago began attending the service. In 1990, the memorial service was included in the 59th General Assembly of Interpol, which was attended by people from 109 countries around the globe. In 1994, then Prime Minister Jean Chrétien attended the event and was present for the dedication of the Canadian Memorial Pavilion. A granite stone, inscribed with the names of the slain officers, was placed at its base. 5 years later, the original stones were replaced by a glass panel monument that was erected next to the pavilion. On September 24, 1998, the Government of Canada officially proclaimed the last Sunday of September of every year as Police and Peace Officers' National Memorial Day. They are led onto the hill by the pipes and drums and color party of the Ottawa Police Service. The memorial service has become an important, widely recognized national event, a tribute to the memory of colleagues who paid the supreme sacrifice while in the service of their community. The modes of transportation that officers of our city have access to have gone through great changes from the beginnings of the police to the present day. The vehicles officers use have a great influence on how well they can do their job of locating, apprehending, and transporting criminals. Before the 1890s, police patrolled the streets on foot, but the end of the century saw the introduction of the bicycle as a method of transportation. Those first bicycles were the sole form of vehicle until supplemented by the mounted branch on horse in 1905. By 1912, automobile patrol cars appeared on the streets, and during the First World War, the first Harley-Davidson motorcycle was purchased for highway patrol. Over the years, sidecars were added. After the police had gained the vehicles needed to effectively patrol the streets and highways in the area, other improvements were put in place. By 1935, the Prowler patrol cars of Ottawa were upgraded when one-way station-to-car radios were installed as a method of making each shift more productive and cost-effective. A change to two-way radios in 1941 allowed for improved communication between dispatchers and policemen. For close to 2 decades, Eastview police calls were routed through the Ottawa radio system. One of the most significant advances for the patrol officer was the 1978 installation of in-car computer terminals called MDTs in all cruisers. In the late 1950s, a boat and fitted trailer was purchased to broaden the policing abilities of the Marine Patrol. By 1960, a fleet of scooters was used by sections such as the newly established Women's Auxiliary. They were replaced by Honda 175cc's purchased in 1973. And in the early 1980s, snowmobiles were added to fleets throughout the region. The cruisers used by the police have gone through a lot of aesthetic changes over the years. In 1979, in accordance with instructions from the Ontario Police Commission, all marked cars in the province were painted blue and white. In 1984, the cars in the Ottawa traffic section were painted yellow, and in 1988, the vehicles of the service were painted white for safety and economic reasons. In 2002, the Ottawa police cruiser got another new look, with reflective stripes running down the sides of the white car. The evolution of equipment used by the Ottawa Police has given members of the service the ability to perform their duties as well as they possibly can. From traffic enforcement to the arrest of criminal suspects, the equipment that is used is not only helpful and convenient, but also essential. Over the past 150 years, the force has witnessed the addition of many beneficial items and systems to aid in everyday events. In 1855, police forces had access to the first fingerprint system. Before 1882, handcuffs were used to subdue criminals. However, they were discontinued for a short while, except for use on criminals who were thought to be especially dangerous, and replaced with nippers, which were thought to be an easier way of restricting a suspect. In 1913, the first warrants, personal identification cards, were issued to be carried while in plain clothes or off duty. Beginning in 1959, the services began to see the emergence of many instruments and programs that would make patrolling the streets and highways much easier, and which would also allow room for higher penalties concerning traffic violations. In 1959, both the demerit point system and the breathalyzer were introduced to catch those who violated traffic laws and to deal out a more severe punishment to those who were caught. In 1964, the radar was implemented. In 1970, portable radios were carried by beat officers and the entire system was updated to a digital system in 1997. Many different systems have been created and evolved greatly over the years. One of these systems was the Microfilm Information Retrieval and Access Code System, also known as MIRA code, which worked to lessen the search time for records and fingerprints immensely. Cadre, computer-aided dispatch and records entry, was installed in the late 1970s. The 911 emergency telephone line began operations when operators were hired and equipment set up in 1988. A year later, a second telephone program was started when PC COPS, or the Personal Computer Community Organization and Prevention System, a telephone alert program, commenced. The 1990s brought with it the Automated Fingerprint Identification System, AFIS, used to match and identify suspects quickly and accurately. The Direct Report Entry and Workflow program, known as DREW, was put into place in January of 2000. As a part of the final stage of technological development. Along with equipment aiding in the enforcement of traffic laws and systems, the Ottawa Police have also made additions concerning the methods of protection to which they have access. In 1970, a new regulation was put into practice that called for all officers to be equipped with .38 caliber revolvers, later to be replaced with the .40 caliber semi-automatic pistol. In the 1980s, the tactical team was outfitted with new protective apparel and equipment, such as the latest bomb suit and the RMI, Remote Mobile Investigator, to protect themselves from the growing danger of suspicious packages. The early 1990s saw officers being supplied with and trained in the use of pepper spray, The newest addition to the Ottawa Police Service came in July 2004, when the province ordered that all of the services across Ontario would have use of the Taser less lethal system. Police officers are identified by the uniforms they wear. When we see them walking down the street or on vehicle patrol, we think of them as a sign of authority, protection, and security. The police uniform commands respect and adds to the sense of responsibility felt by the officers. When the force first began, the Bytown constables didn't have a uniform and lacked any sign of apparent authority. So in the 1860s, uniforms were issued to the men of that force. In September of 1865, it became a regulation that every officer, except detectives, would be supplied with a uniform, including a cap, boots, gloves, and an overcoat. 4 years later, a red stripe was added down the side of the blue pants to give the uniform a more military look. In 1867, the Board of Commissioners decided that every officer that worked for the Ottawa Police was to be armed with a Smith & Wesson revolver, in addition to the baton and set of nippers they carried while on duty. During the Second World War, police officers' uniforms evolved. The regulation high-collared tunic was swapped for an open-neck jacket, shirt, and tie. Ottawa officers of all ranks wore a summer uniform of bright blue with white cap covers. By the end of the decade, officers in the traffic department were given luminous plastic safety belts for added safety while on duty in crowded intersections and streets. In 1950, the police force introduced a uniform for women. The female uniform consisted of an open-neck tunic with a shirt and tie, the Ottawa Police badge on the left breast, an ankle-length skirt, black shoes, a cape, and a purse. The women's uniforms would change dramatically over the years. From the tunic, skirt, and pair of pants issued to the meter maids of the early 1960s, to variations on the hat, skirt, and shirt with tie through the 70s and 80s. Maternity uniforms were introduced in the early 1990s. In 1971, the Ottawa Police uniforms added a red band onto the existing hats, the purpose of which was to differentiate the uniform of the municipal police from those of other forces. The black hat band of Gloucester was changed to red in 1983. In the early 1970s, officers were issued short-sleeved uniform shirts for summer wear. Through the 1980s and 90s, the common uniform was altered to eliminate the wearing of a tie, a change to pants with cargo pockets, and the issue of bulletproof vests. Today's uniform is designed for comfort and adequate ease of movement to perform the best possible job. (1,160 sworn police officers, 447 civilian members, and hundreds of dedicated volunteers work together in serving residents and visitors to Ottawa. While the goal is always to work as one big team, the Ottawa Police Service is organized into 4 major areas that provide the framework for effective policing. They are Executive Services, which is essentially the organization's leadership team and support sections that report directly to the chief. Corporate Services, that report to the Director General, which includes sections like Human Resources and Finance, the glue that keeps the organization together. Patrol Operations, headed by a Deputy Chief and composed mainly of the men and women on policing's front line, who respond to emergencies, enforce laws, and make our community safe. And Operations Support, also headed by a Deputy Chief that includes policing experts and specialty units that are called upon for their special skills according to the situation. To the casual observer, what makes the Ottawa Police Service unique among organizations and a standout in policing circles is its specialized sections and units. Here, we present an overview of some of those units. The Firearms Section performs specific duties with respect to the administration of the licensing provisions of the Firearms Act, under the terms of an agreement with the Ministry of the Solicitor General. The Hate Crime Section investigates incidents of a hate bias nature. It assists other sections like arson, sexual assault, and helps the affected victims and their communities. The section's responsibilities include monitoring and tracking hate groups and individuals, as well as educating others about hate bias-motivated crime.
The Partner Assault Support Team is a centralized investigative unit focusing on sexual assault and child abuse incidents, including child pornography and child abductions. The section also investigates allegations of elder abuse, maintains specialized databases relative to sexual offenders, and assists the Crown Office with dangerous offender applications.
The Youth Section provides consultation, support, and training to both police members and the community for youth at risk, and facilitates referrals to youth services agencies. The section includes the School Resource Officer Program, Street Gangs Unit, Missing or Runaway Youth, Youth Intervention Diversion, and the Police Youth Center. The Communications Center receives all 911 emergency calls. It is also responsible for ensuring all police calls are dispatched to patrol officers in an effective manner, as well as providing operational support to officers. A call center is also available to take non-emergency calls from the public, reducing the number of calls for service being referred to frontline officers. The Forensic Identification Section is responsible for crime scene documentation, including the collection, preservation, and examination of crime scene exhibits, and the presentation of expert evidence before the courts. In addition, some of the more interesting responsibilities of the section include its work with the DNA Databank and the National Capital Nuclear Biological Chemical Response Team. As well, Imaging Services processes 6,000 rolls of film and 250,000 photographs annually, and operates a full-service film and digital processing facility, including audio-video services. The Airport Policing Section operates out of Ottawa's Macdonald-Cartier Airport. The primary contractual responsibilities involve responding to pre-board screening areas in the event of an incident, foot patrol of restricted access areas, including baggage makeup and receiving areas, and airside patrol. While dogs were used as an effective policing tool in the past, the Ottawa Police Canine Unit, as we now know it, first became a permanent part of the organization in the fall of 1991. Today, the unit has 9 members, 8 German Shepherds and 6 other dogs trained for sniffing explosives. Canines are mainly used to help in tracking lost or wanted individuals, in searching for illicit narcotics, and providing explosive detector dog services. The Ottawa Police Service Tactical Unit provides tactical support services, hostage rescue capabilities, and explosive disposal services within the City of Ottawa. When not engaged in tactical support operations or mandated training, the unit engages in frontline patrol support. Collision Investigation Unit officers investigate all life-threatening injury and fatal motor vehicle collisions and attend the scene of any collision when requested. They also investigate all hit-and-run motor vehicle collisions that cannot be investigated by the officer responding to the initial call for service. The Traffic Enforcement Unit enforces traffic laws and develops solutions for recurring traffic problems. They are responsible for follow-up of traffic complaints, plus attending some special events, escorts, motor vehicle accidents, and are utilized for labor disputes. The Motorcycle Squad made its debut in 1916. After the 1983 death of an Ottawa police constable driving a Kawasaki, the unit was disbanded. 7 years later, the squad was re-established, and officers working in the traffic section were outfitted with 12 new Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Under the leadership of Chief Bevan, the Traffic Escort Squad was increased to 30 motorcycle officers. The Evidence Control Section is responsible for all property and evidence in the custody of the Ottawa Police Service. Proper handling of property is imperative to ensure that evidence is not excluded from the trial because of questions of tampering, and best practices in material handling are followed. The Fleet Services section coordinates and facilitates the management of the Ottawa Police Service's fleet of marked and unmarked vehicles. The section also facilitates the purchase and upfitting of all new police vehicles, including boats, snowmobiles, all-terrain vehicles, and the Mobile Command Unit. The Health, Safety and Lifestyle section develops, implements, and monitors comprehensive programs to promote the health and safety of all employees and optimizes their ability to perform their work. It assists in the development of fair and consistent programs that aid in returning valuable human resources, benefits, and productivity to the police service. Information Technology Services has 3 sections: IT operations, IT applications, and telecom. It is responsible for planning the police service's information technology growth in accordance with business needs, as well as managing the provision of support for the effective use of information technology. The Professional Development Center is responsible for police training and development. It has put in place a formal system of needs identification, evaluation, and prioritization that focuses on best practices, career development, performance evaluation, and strategic corporate priorities. The Quartermaster Stores purchases and provides officers with equipment and clothing. It is also responsible for the maintenance of inventory levels and the proper fitting of equipment. The mandate of the Community Development Section is to develop sustainable partnerships and crime prevention strategies within the community, and to work with communities, agencies, and members of the organization to identify problems, opportunities, and potential solutions. The Corporate Communications Section establishes and maintains internal and external communication strategies in support of overall organizational priorities. It provides support and advice to deliver effective internal and external communications. The Diversity and Race Relations section exists to ensure that the police respond effectively, appropriately, and sensitively to all members of the community. It's an important means of strengthening communication between police and immigrants, visible minorities, and Aboriginal peoples. In the mid-1980s, Ottawa Police formed its first bicycle squad. It was a highly beneficial public relations unit, as officers on mountain bikes were seen by the public as more approachable than those in cars. The bicycle squad is currently used for those problems that can best be addressed by its use, such as daytime and night park patrol, youth nighttime party problems, open-air drug markets, beat patrols, and crowd control. The Ottawa Police formed the Underwater Search and Recovery Squad in 1957 to retrieve drowning victims and submerged stolen property. At that time, the Ottawa Police became the first police service in North America to obtain its own underwater squad. The Ottawa Police is a leader in underwater search and recovery in Eastern Ontario and is often called upon to assist other police agencies in Ontario and Quebec. In 1967, a two-man Marine Patrol began operations with the purpose of enforcing the laws dealing with boat operations. After its inaugural year, 18 more officers were trained in boat regulations, first aid and public relations courses, and assigned to work in the Marine Patrol section. Marine Patrol has evolved over the years, and vessel types and work assignments have kept in step with the times. Currently, the Ottawa Police Service Marine Unit engages in patrol on the Ottawa River, Rideau Canal, and Rideau River. The Ottawa Police have had many homes since 1855. The first police station in the nation's capital was located in a wing of the City Hall, on the east side of Elgin Street, between Queen and Albert. In 1878, a special committee on police station accommodations decided that the conditions of the Elgin Street building were unsatisfactory, and the old Baptist Church at 56 Queen Street became the new home of the Ottawa Police Force. Over the 11 years spent in the renovated church, several complaints were lodged. Chief Sherwood stated that the building was unsanitary and dangerous. Chief Grant made similar complaints during his tenure. But it was not until Chief McVitie's administration that the Ottawa Police Force finally relocated in late 1889. The new station was located at 2 Queen Street, on the site of what is now the National Arts Centre, and remained home to the Ottawa Police Force for 68 years. But the city was growing, and a second station was needed to better serve residents west of Bank Street. In 1910, Division 2 station was opened at 863 Somerset Street West. As the city continued to develop, the second station was relocated, moving to the recently vacated fire station at 7 Fairmont Avenue in 1927. In 1953, a grand jury decided the main station was in extremely poor condition, and it was closed 3 years later. "60 Waller Street became the new police station in 1957. The building incorporated courtrooms, as well as a gymnasium, large garage, parade room, and firing range. The traffic, morality, and detective divisions were housed in new offices, and morale was high. By the following year, the second station on Fairmont was found to be inadequate. A building at 413 Churchill Avenue had housed the Nepean Township Police until 1950, and the station perfectly suited the needs of the expanded Ottawa Police. So, Number 2 station moved again, closing only in the early 1980s when plans were approved to create a brand new police station at 474 Elgin Street. In the spring of 1983, the Ottawa Police moved into that building, deeming it their main headquarters. In a ceremony that brought great pride to the force, Their Royal Highnesses the Prince and Princess of Wales inaugurated the new Elgin Street Police Station. On March 3, 1993, the Elgin Station was renamed the Thomas G. Flanagan Building, in honor of Chief Flanagan, who was known and respected for his service to the Ottawa Police and great interest in helping the community. The Thomas G. Flanagan Building is still the primary headquarters of the Ottawa Police. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and contains the executive offices, a gym, fleet maintenance, tech services, firing range, communications and 911 center, IT, forensic identification and imaging labs, holding cells, and central records. The first police station in Gloucester opened in 1875 in the newly built Township Hall at 1349 Bank Street. It was home to Gloucester Police for almost 90 years. In 1962, the station moved into the new Municipal Hall at 4550 Bank Street. On May 1, 1971, the Gloucester Police officially opened their own building in the old Leitrim School at 4561 Bank Street. This building underwent massive renovations between 1977 and 1978, during which time the police were housed in temporary quarters in the Johnston Corners Public School on Rideau Road. The Gloucester Police got their first real police station when the newly renovated Leitrim Station reopened in July 1978. In the fall of 1981, a large trailer was purchased and operated as a substation from Shopper City East on Ogilvie Road. By 1986, the trailer was closed and a permanent substation was created in shared quarters with fire services at 1700 Blair Road. In 1915, the first Nepean police station was located in the Nepean Township Hall at 345 Richmond Road. Between 1929 and 1937, the Carleton County Police Force operated out of the Carleton County Courthouse at 2 Daly Avenue. In 1945, the Nepean Township Police were formed. Until 1950, this force worked from a building at 413 Churchill Avenue, the same building that would be reopened 9 years later as Ottawa's number 2 station. The Nepean Township Police disbanded in 1950 as the annexation of much of Nepean by Ottawa reduced the township to rural status. And for the next 7 years, municipal policing was done by the OPP. In 1957, the Gloucester Nepean Police Department was formed and housed on the second floor of the Township Hall Auditorium at 1349 Bank Street, the same building that had been the very first home of the Gloucester Police. In January 1964, the Gloucester Nepean Police split into 2 distinct forces, and the Nepean Police Department began operations from the basement of the 1683 Merivale Road Health Unit. They stayed there for 2 years before moving to Nepean's new municipal offices at 3825 Richmond Road in late 1966. In 1978, a new solar-heated police station at 245 Greenbank Road was opened. A 3rd floor was added in 1992, and the Nepean Police Force stayed at this location until amalgamation into the Ottawa-Carleton Regional Police Service on January 1, 1995. The Eastview Police, which officially became the Vanier Police in 1969, were housed in the former Town Hall at 180 Montreal Road from 1913 until February 3, 1972, when a devastating fire broke out and destroyed the building. The Vanier Police moved to City Hall at 297 Dupuis Street and stayed there until the integration of the Vanier Police Force into the Ottawa Police Force. Currently, the Ottawa Police Service is housed in 5 main stations and the many community police centers across the city. The Thomas G. Flanagan Building at 474 Elgin Street still serves as the main headquarters for the Ottawa Police Service. The former Nepean Station at 245 Greenbank Road became the divisional station for the western portion of Ottawa in 1995. The divisional station for the rural east and former Gloucester areas is located at 4561 Bank Street, previously the Gloucester Police Station. A 4th main station is situated in Orleans at 3343 Saint Joseph Boulevard. It was opened in May 2002 and polices the east end of Ottawa. And the 5th and final main police station is found at 95 Abbey Hill Drive in Canada. Opened in 1999, it was outfitted to accommodate the officers that monitor the rural west area of the city. The Ottawa Police Service also has facilities for specialized services throughout the city, such as the Professional Development Centre at Algonquin College, a new Property Services building on Swansea Crescent, Quartermaster Stores on Bank Street, and the Airport Policing Unit at Ottawa's Macdonald-Cartier International Airport. In addition to these state-of-the-art structures, the Ottawa Police Service is a constant presence in the community, with community police centers located throughout. The Ottawa Police Service's first civilian member was Rose Boucher, hired in 1911 to take care of female prisoners and clean offices. During the late 70s and continuing into the mid-80s, civilians were being hired to perform many traditional sworn officer positions. Civilians performing jobs such as dispatchers, prisoner security, and taking police reports from members of the public, to name just a few, became very prominent. Currently, civilian members make up 1/3 of the membership of the Ottawa Police Service. Their duties and responsibilities are very unique and directly related to frontline policing. They fill a variety of positions, such as crime analysts, identification clerks, and call center agents responsible for taking police complaints over the phone. Not only do our civilian members perform essential duties for the day-to-day operations of the Ottawa Police Service, many civilian members participate in community events outside of their regular duties. From dragon boat racing to running for a cure and more, our civilian members can be seen lending their support. Civilians are an integral part of the police service and hold positions that cover a broad range of specialty areas. Each and every member performs duties that are crucial to the delivery of the excellent service we provide the members of the public. The Ottawa Police Service would not be the pillar of excellence it is without the support of the hundreds of volunteers who generously donate their time and energy to keep the community safer. Ottawa Police volunteers are an essential part of the organization. They are heavily involved in community police centers and crime prevention programs, such as Neighborhood Watch, home security inspections, child print, and many more. They entertain the community as members of our chorus and the Ottawa Police Pipes and Drums, a significant presence in parades and Highland events held far and wide. Weekly Crime Stoppers broadcasts are aimed with the help of volunteers, and many Ottawa Police special events and projects would not be possible without volunteer assistance. The Ottawa Police Gift Shop, its revenues dedicated annually to a designated charity, is run entirely on volunteer energy. Volunteering for the Ottawa Police gives you the opportunity to become involved with an exceptional organization and an outstanding community. It provides an arena to meet interesting people with similar interests, fill idle time with fascinating work, and make a huge difference in your city. The Ottawa Police are also strongly committed to exposing the youth of our community to police operations. Young men and women between the ages of 14 and 18 are eligible to apply for the Venturers program. Becoming a venturer is a fantastic opportunity for young people who are interested in a career in law enforcement, or for those who just want to learn more about the role of the police in Ottawa and the criminal justice system. To find out more about becoming a volunteer or a venturer with the Ottawa Police Service, you can visit our website at ottawapolice.ca. In 1863, the Board of Commissions was first conceived and consisted of the mayor, the police magistrate, and the senior judge of the Carleton County Court. It evolved to become the present-day Police Services Board, which serves as a link between the community and the Ottawa Police Service. The board monitors the performance of the Chief of Police and is responsible for setting policy, objectives, and goals related to policing in the city. The Chief Constables Association of Canada was founded on September 6, 1905, and in the early 1950s, the name was changed to the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police. This group's mission statement is, "The CACP leads progressive change in policing," and its main objective, to support and promote efficient law enforcement and to the protection and security of the people of Canada. The CACP is a countrywide group dealing with issues, concerns, and interests within all levels, municipal, regional, provincial, and federal, of policing. The Canadian Professional Police Association is the national voice for 200 police services across Canada. As the National Centre for Police Labour Relations, its role includes the promotion of the interests of police personnel, providing a collective support network, and advocating for adequate and equitable resources for policing. On October 11, 1933, the Police Association of Ontario was formed when 20 senior police officials met at the Royal York in Toronto. This group was primarily formed to create closer cooperation between all officers within Ontario and to give financial aid to members. The association has been responsible for many beneficial changes over the years. For instance, the 1960 decision that for the first time in Ontario policing, all police officers would receive a pension. In 1951, the Chief Constables Association of Ontario was formed as a recognized police interest group to meet the specific needs of the Ontario police chiefs. It was a significant influence in the establishment of the Ontario Police College in 1963. A formal name change to the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police was adopted in 1965. The OACP's philosophy has changed little since the organization's inception: to promote competency, training, and education, and to provide a unified voice to government. The Ottawa Police Association was formed in 1948 under the guise of the Ottawa Police Athletic Association. In the following years, many things would change. By 1951, every sworn member of the Ottawa Police was a member of the OPA, and the association was responsible for salary and working conditions negotiations on their behalf. In 1966, civilian members were also included. The association's responsibilities have grown greatly from its start, as it is now responsible for issues such as life insurance, health plans, pension payments, long-term disabilities, and protecting retirees. On August 17, 1955, the Ottawa Police Association Credit Union was established as a lending institution for officers. The credit union eventually evolved from a simple share and lend outfit to an advanced establishment that was able to provide services such as travel, life, and home insurance, direct payroll deduction, and RRSPs. Formed in 1967, the pipes and drums of the Ottawa Police Service wear the Red Ross tartan in honor of the first Chief Constable, Roderick Ross. The band participates in many community initiatives, parades, Highland Games, and memorial services on a local, national, and international level. Currently, the band is comprised of 55 members of the community and police officers who donate their time and musical talent to reflect the professional image of the Ottawa Police Service and the community they serve. The Ottawa Police Service Color Party and Highland Dancers are an integral part of the Pipes and Drums, and in 2003 performed with the band on stage at New York's Carnegie Hall, paying tribute to the 9/11 memorial service and tattoo held in New York City. In 1971, officers from the Ottawa Police came together to form the Ottawa Folk and Country Group, a volunteer band that played at public functions and police assemblies. A memorable member of the group is Dominic Darcy, known as the Singing Policeman, who after the group broke up, continues to play and sing at charity functions. The Ottawa Male Police Choir was founded in 1972 and later changed its name to the Ottawa Police Choir when female members began to join. The choir consists of over 30 volunteers who donate their time to perform public relations functions for the Ottawa Police by singing at city events, presentations, dances, churches, and even at weddings and funerals for members of the Ottawa Police. Police officers in early Ottawa were required to exercise watchfulness over disorderly characters and carry out sanitary precautions as recommended by the Board of Health. But the role of officers has grown and modernized along with the city they serve. The Ottawa Police Outreach Recruitment Program is an ongoing project that aims to help create a more diverse police service in Ottawa. The program entices and encourages those people who are currently underrepresented within the community to step forward and try their hand at being a part of the Ottawa Police Service. Because of the traditional makeup of police services throughout Canada, many members of minority communities may think they will not be welcomed or given a chance in the service. Regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, or other diversity issues, the administration of the Ottawa Police wants all citizens to know that everyone who can meet our standards and is interested in a career in policing is welcome to apply to and join our service. In July 2003, as a sub-project of the Strategic Staffing Initiative, the Outreach Recruitment Project was launched with the goal to make the Ottawa Police Service attractive to qualified applicants from every part of the community, and to encourage people to consider a career with the Ottawa Police Service if they had not already done so. The program specifically focused on those individuals from communities who traditionally would not have considered a career in policing. As Staff Sergeant Gravel, a member of the Ottawa Police Service in charge of the program, said,
"For many years I've heard people tell me that they did not apply to become a police officer for one reason or another. Unfortunately, some of those reasons were not valid, but the perceptions that they had as to why they couldn't become police officers were very real. The Outreach Recruitment Project is all about opening the doors to people that have been closed in upon themselves through their own misconception of what policing is all about."
Not only is the Ottawa Police Service giving all people an opportunity to better their lives, the service is also benefiting from the diversity of the community. By generating diversity within the service, the Ottawa Police Service is moving towards creating a more general trust and ability to serve within our community. It is the stated goal of the Ottawa Police Service to become an employer of choice for all policing in Canada. Becoming a member of the Ottawa Police is more than just a job. It is an adventure that allows you to escape the 9-to-5 routine and to make a difference in your community. There are 447 civilian and 1,160 police officer positions, and the Ottawa Police Service offers a wide variety of interesting and challenging career opportunities, along with competitive salaries and benefit packages. You'll find dozens of career choices at the Ottawa Police Service, from patrol constable to IT specialist to 911 dispatcher. And these exciting careers are based in one of the most vibrant, beautiful places in North America. Without a doubt, the National Capital and its police service are second to none. If you are interested in a career with the Ottawa Police Service and you would like more information, please get in touch with us at Human Resources at ottawapolice.ca.
Thank you.